On the field, off the field, sports talk, entertainment, and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 120 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. As always, Dippers, I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Mr. Leighton Pip Javentone.
Willie Taggart has to be I don't know how I want to phrase this, so I say it. No one has ever been wished their job and got $12 million to not do it anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. Whenever you are paying people $20 million basically just to not show up anymore, you know that person is really outkicked their coverage on the job that they're supposed to have. I absolutely love the Willie Taggart story. It's a story of mediocrity that would be told for years and years and years. We'll obviously cover that later because I think I've talked about it about 50 times how bad Willie Taggart is as a coach. Basically over the last 3 years.
Yep.
But he's a legend. He's an absolute legend.
A legendary, horribly bad coach. Yep.
Yes. But we will get to that later. We will get to our NFL Word Association recap, talk about the halfway mark of the NFL season. Every team has officially played at least 8 games. We will get to our Week 11 college football preview. We have an absolutely loaded weekend. Rarely do we get this far into the college football season and get an undefeated matchup. This week we have 2. We will talk a little bit about the World Series, put a bow on the MLB season, hit some NBA news, and of course the Saucy Sick Pack is back. So, Leighton C, NFL Word Association recap. First off, biggest winner.
Baltimore Ravens, without a doubt.
No, actually, same division. Bengals. Only team without a win.
Good deal. Yep. Good job, Bengals.
Hey, what a call, though. We called it.
Yep.
Miami Dolphins were going to win. Get that first
That
win.
is. That's yeah.
Biggest loser.
All the road teams, literally, they all lost.
Except for Baltimore.
What's that?
Hey, what?
That's true. Baltimore last night, the Cowboys won tonight, so the primetime games will be wins. But.
How weird is that? If you had to pick one game on the slate yesterday,
that game was at Baltimore last night.
It was at Baltimore?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought it was at Foxborough.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, here we are. My biggest loser, Matt Nagy's offense. Absolutely horrible. 9 yards in the first half. You can't make that up.
No.
You can't make that up. A college offense could do that. Legitimately, a college offense could get 9 yards in a game. I'm not one of those people who think a college team could beat an NFL team because that's just not true. Mm-hmm. But it's 9 yards.
Yeah.
9 yards in one entire half. Biggest surprise.
Brandon Allen had as many wins this season as Sam Darnold.
Holy smokes. Brandon Allen was not that bad.
Yeah, again, Sam Darnold didn't miss like 3-4 weeks with Motto, so no excuse.
Yes, no
it's,
excuse.
It's Brandon Allen. They know who he was before yesterday.
36-year-old Frank Gore is finally starting to wear down a little bit.
Yeah, can't believe it. Can't believe it.
36-year-old Frank Gore finally starting to wear down. 20 carries over the last 2 weeks, 49 yards. Biggest disappointment.
The entire Jets team. Just what the... what in the hell is going on there?
Adam Gase. This is the Adam Gase experiment.
Actually, I have a hot take on the Jets. Go for the offseason. Now, stay with me here on this.
Okay.
The Jets roster is top 3 worst in the league, outside of Jamal Adams, Le'Veon Bell, and Sam Darnold.
But that's more talent than most talent teams have.
It is right. But
and Quentin Williams.
Listen, I think the Jets go into this offseason and try to trade Sam Darnold to the Bengals for the top overall pick. Because, Sam Darnold, I think he'll be really good. I know you think he'll be really good. But he hasn't done anything to show that he's going to be great yet. He hasn't earned the right to be untouchable. If you're the Bengals, you have Zach Taylor, which might be the oddest coaching sign than Freddie Kitchens. If you have Zach Taylor for the Rams 2 years ago, do you want to give him Ryan Finley or Tua or Justin Herbert, or do you want to give him Sam Darnold, who has 2 years in the league and has seen NFL defense before?
Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing you can't do that. You know why? Because if Sam Darnold is good, then you're going to get the backlash. It doesn't matter how good your quarterback is that you get in. If Sam Darnold turns out to be good and you traded him, and you're the team that traded Sam Darnold, you're always going to hear it.
Look, if I can't remember the name right now, GM for the Jets, you liquidate Jamal Adams, you trade Jamal Adams for something good, because Jamal Adams is a fucking stud.
Oh, he's great.
You trade him.
Yeah.
You liquidate Le'Veon Bell on that
Yep.
contract, because the GM before you did a bad job. He got fired after the draft.
Yes, that was the best
And
thing
then you
ever.
fired Adam Gase, because Adam Gase has only been good with Peyton Manning, who is top 2 quarterbacks of all time.
And the best part about the fired after the draft, it's not that he just got fired after the draft. It was a week after the draft.
Yeah, like they sat down about what he did. It said, shit, we're really screwed here.
Yep.
Oh crap, we're paying $15 million to Le'Veon Bell? This isn't going to work, guys.
No, it's an absolute terrible mess. I think that out of all the teams in the NFL, I think they have probably the worst situation.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's weird because I think they have a franchise quarterback, but they have the worst situation.
For now.
My biggest disappointment this week, Panthers. They're actually releasing information on Cam Newton's injury now. Like the suspense is over. It's not as fun now. I liked it better whenever we just assumed that Cam Newton was actually healthy and they were covering this whole thing up, just basically keeping Kyle Allen out on the field. Biggest impact injury.
Jacoby Brissett.
Absolutely.
Maybe Brian Hoyer looked good yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Brian Hoyer has looked good before too.
Yes.
So that could be a big injury for him. It could be a blessing in disguise. Who knows?
Yeah,
We'll
you never
find
know.
out in about 6 days.
Yes, I think the Ty injury and Jacoby Brissett,
Yeah.
put those 1A, 1B. Poor Colts, man. I mean, his team that really couldn't sustain any injuries throughout the season, it's not good. Definitely not good. Next up, WTF moment.
So the Browns cut Jermaine Whitehead today after he threatened some fans on Twitter. Just a few months after they signed Kareem Hunt, after he got on video beating a woman. I'm not saying Jermaine Whitehead should not have been cut from the team, but I'm saying Kareem Hunt should not have been signed to the team.
My WTF moment has to go out to the Buffalo Bills. So yesterday they were obviously playing the Washington Redskins, and on first day, okay, so they had 2 separate red zone drives that were just absolutely hilarious. One of them started off, it was first and goal from the 2. They ended up kicking like a 40-yard field goal. And then the next time, they were like, okay, we'll learn from our mistakes. We won't pass the ball. So they ran the ball 3 straight times. First and goal from the 1, 3 straight times with Frank Gore. Did not get a single yard. Whenever Devin Singletary had been absolutely just lighting the world on fire. 3 straight runs, 0 yards. How do they fix that problem? Whenever it gets down to 4th and 1 again, Frank Gore, 0 yards. So I absolutely loved it. I think Bills fans probably, it's just the epitome of the Bills offense over the last, 15 years. But
They got the win, man.
they got the win. Overreaction.
Matt Nagy, Freddie Kitchens, and Adam Gase will all be fired this offseason, way before the offseason even. Matt Nagy will then be hired by the Browns, and Adam Gase will be offensive coordinator. And Freddie Kitchens will open a barbecue restaurant in Cleveland called Freddie's Kitchen,
I like
which no one will go eat at because no one in Cleveland likes Freddie Kitchens.
They won't like Freddie's Kitchen either.
No.
My overreaction, the Patriots are dead. 2 games versus winning teams. Matt blocked punt, returned for a touchdown. They win that game by 6 points. They play against the Ravens. They lose by 17 to the Ravens. Definitely didn't look like themselves on offense. Definitely not on defense. And we might be sitting in a pretender situation.
So you think there might be pretenders?
Yeah, I think so.
You preluding to something else coming up in the show in a few minutes?
Yes, actually, the contender card. It is back.
Oh, well. Going to get through your thoughts then.
Okay. It's Willie Taggart. A year and a half of bad coaching later, $20 million buyout. Players, sorry, but the funding just isn't there. Garrett Cole. The team Boris hat is officially the new dunce cap of the MLB. Garrett Cole. I hope you enjoyed pitching in the playoffs. What your attitude and payroll will do to the next team, I am sure you will not be in the playoffs anytime soon. Is there anything more Andy Dalton than getting benched 3 days after the trade deadline and on your birthday? Joel Embiid. Tough guy. Nothing echoes that more than trying to fight Karl Anthony Towns or Jared Dudley. Cleveland Browns. On pace to have their 4th worst season since 2000. Cleveland, they are who we thought they are. Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers. Lock them into the Super Bowl of all-time pretenders. This game will last exactly 1 hour. Neither quarterback will throw for a touchdown, and we'll hear about how elite both quarterbacks are whenever they come into this game with 40 combined touchdown passes. Jimmy Garoppolo silenced all the critics this week with 300 passing yards versus the Cardinals. Congratulations, Jimmy. You are now only the fourth man to do that against this Cardinals team. And there's a new book out this week. It's titled Tactical Warfare, Winning the War and Not the Battle. And it was written by Bill Belichick. And those have been my thoughts. You think they lost that game on purpose? Because I heard all week people hinting around at it. I had even heard people that used to play for the Patriots say, yeah, I could see Bill losing this game. Just wanting to lose this game. That way, whenever it comes into the playoffs, they didn't tip their hand. They didn't give them all the tape that they could have. They didn't say that he would go out there and try to lose it, but they just knew that he wasn't going to go out there and just show the Ravens everything that they have.
I can see it, but
Yes.
I will say this though. Last night, there were times Patriots could have stopped them. They just weren't tackling them.
Just wouldn't tackle.
I'm not saying they weren't trying to tackle. They just straight up missing tackle. Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson. On the last drive of the game, where they scored basically the game-winning touchdown, they could have tackled Lamar Jackson if they got that first down. They just didn't get to grab him.
Yeah, well,
So it gave them inches literally because they just couldn't take down Mark Ingram on these long runs.
yeah, but the thing is with this Patriots team, people are talking like, oh, it's the best defensive ever, greatest of all time, but they really have been like that all season though. You remember the huge Nick Chubb run earlier on where he broke
punched
50
it out.
tackles? Yeah, they ended up punching it out. I don't want to call them a lucky football team, but they get opportune turnovers where years past we called them the bend but don't break. Now it's either that they're just going to get long runs, not tackle anybody, or they're going to get a turnover in some ridiculous fashion.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I think I think Bill Belichick won the game. I think he tried to win the game.
Yes.
But now he knows what will not work.
Yes, I agree. And I think that, if the Patriots, if it was a playoff game yesterday, I feel like the Patriots would have destroyed them because Bill would have put all the tricks out there, everything that he had. I really think that what we saw this week is nothing close to what we are going to see in the playoffs from this Patriots team whenever it's talked about scheming against Lamar Jackson. There's no way he has 2 rushing touchdowns next time.
No
way. So we're actually at the halfway mark of the NFL season. What I'm wanting to do here is we're going to hand out some awards. We're going to do our contender card and just kind of discuss what we've seen over the first 9 weeks of this NFL season. Let's do first our contender card. We will go back and forth, name off teams until we have filled the entire contender card, and we need to give a unanimous vote to get in. Leighton C., you start us off.
We're starting the AFC. The Patriots.
We'll make it quick and easy, and we'll run through the AFC real quick.
Yep, real fast.
Chiefs.
Yep. Ravens.
I have one, and I think I might get some pushback on it. But as bad as the AFC, I'm going to explain it first. As bad as the AFC is, a 9-7 team could realistically make it into this thing. Okay. This team is going to get an all-pro back at the safety position, which is what they need. They looked great this week defensively. They looked great last week defensively. And that is the San Diego Chargers.
No.
Okay. Do you think
they will be better defensively with Derwin James back, but yesterday's game, that game was so weird because I have that about Packers defense as well, but the offense never got going. I'm not sure what it was, but that's not a total team that you see every single week out there. Yes, they're going to play off because Phil Rivers is going to go on some great run to sound like he does every single game, make the playoffs, and then I'll come back here and say they look pretty fucking good going into January.
Yeah, because what's going to happen?
But I've seen this story too many times. I know what's going to happen. Every Charger game ends the exact same way, except for yesterday.
Yes, this team, we're going to be talking into a situation where we're like, okay, This Chargers team is now 10-2 in their last 12 games, and Phillip Rivers has looked like the MVP, but we can't give him the MVP for the first 5-6 games. And we're just in this same rabbit hole situation where it's like, okay, Chargers, they're a team you don't want to play in the playoffs. They have a quarterback that can win any game at any given time. They're going to keep it close. They have a championship level defense. They can run the ball. I don't see it being too far out there. This team, 9-7, going in to play any team in the divisional round, I like their chances. And realistically, come January, I'm not counting them out. All right, so it's a no on the Chargers then.
I'm not good at the Chargers in the card, no.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead and go. Do you have any more AFC teams?
I know my AFC teams.
Yeah, no, me either.
No, the AFC is not good.
Nope. I think the NFC is going to be a little more lengthy. I think I have 8.
You have 8?
8. I do.
I have 5.
Okay.
So,
lay it on me.
Cowboys.
Okay. Yes, I 100% agree with that.
They're going there.
I have the Eagles.
No. I do not think they're a good football team. 2 weeks ago, we decided Russell was not very good. Then they looked good. Then yesterday, they almost blew a lead to a really bad Bears team. No. They're a well-coached team. They could make they might make the wild card.
They will. They'll go on a tear here. Dude, every year, this is what we have with this Eagles team.
I know, look though.
They are terrible at the beginning of the season, even just last year. I think that they had already had I can't remember what they started off last year, but I'm pretty sure it was a 2-5 start, or it was terrible. And then all of a sudden, Doug Peterson's like, okay, yeah, we should probably start winning these games. Bam, go on a huge tear. They've already beaten the Packers once this year. Yes, they've lost some bad.
And they beat the Vikings, yes. However, this year, they don't have Big Dick Nick.
It's true.
That was the checkmate for them last year to get to the playoffs.
That's true, but I just...
This defense is definitively worse this year than it was last year.
I feel like they're just like the Cowboys. I feel like they're very similar to the Cowboys. And the
Cowboys defense is much better.
The secondary, yes. Front 7, no.
Front 4, no.
Yeah.
Linebacker secondary, yes.
I talk myself into this Eagles team basically every single year that I see them doing.
They are literally the Chargers of the NFC. This did happen to get done one time, so we all look at them differently.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, honestly. Plus, they're getting back to Sean Jackson. Haven't had him since week 1.
I agree. Everything's pointing up for the Eagles. Everything's looking bright for them right now. Yeah. I agree with you on that, but I'm not going to put them in the cart.
Okay, next up, who do you have?
New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, checks all the boxes.
Check it down.
I think they're Super Bowl favorite. Next up, I have the Panthers. 5-1 since Kyle Allen started under center.
Okay.
That's got to be one of the best records in the NFL. Mm-hmm. One freaking loss. Their one loss came in a very strange game where the 49ers. We know the 49ers aren't that much better than the Panthers. Okay. So I'm wiping the slate clean there. They play in a not a bad division because they do have to play the Saints. But they get to play the Falcons, and they get to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've actually played the Buccaneers twice already, so I think they get 2 against the Falcons. They can run the ball. They can play defense. Those are 2 things that if you do that in January, you can legitimately beat any other team. And Kyle Allen's competent, and he gets the ball out to a lot of different weapons. So I like this team, and I think they can win it all. 5-1.
I also like the Panthers. It'd be a great story if Kyle Allen could do it. But we're still looking at the fact that it's still Kyle Allen.
He's only thrown an interception in 1 game in his career.
Hey, you know what?
7 starts.
I think I can put him in the cart, but long as McCaffrey can stay healthy, they can win the games.
They can win any game.
I am not putting him in the cart. I am saying, long as McCaffrey stays healthy, they can win enough games.
Okay. So no one.
I'm not putting him in the cart.
Okay, now I think we'll end up agreeing on the rest of these. Who else do you like?
Los Angeles Rams.
Absolutely not. Dude, they are terrible.
See, I have a hunch that Todd Gurley is fine.
No.
I think he is sure. I think he is fine. I think after the bye week, now they know, all right, Todd, it's go time. It's lock and load.
Dude.
That offense only works with a dominant running game.
Yes,
only way
absolutely.
it works. So I think Todd Gurley, they are fine. Now they know, all right, Todd, so unleash the beast.
Yeah, I don't feel it, man. I really don't. You look at this offense, they've been sputtering a lot lately. You look at the back half of this schedule, it's absolutely loaded. I know the Steelers aren't a great team, but they have a good enough defense to beat this Rams team, for sure. Then they have to play the Bears defense, then they play the Ravens, then they play the Seahawks, 49ers, and the Cowboys. And we're already looking at a team that is, 500 team right now. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't. You got too many good teams in the NFC, and I just don't think that the Rams are one of them.
See, Sean McVay last year watched Belichick shut down his offense. He learned, God, Patriots, they weren't very good for the first month of the season last year, and they just won it all. We can suck for 3 months and save Todd Gurley and get to the playoffs and win it all.
Well, I think
that's what they're going to do.
I think that's what his problem is that he looked at last year and he's like, okay, well, I just gave Todd Gurley too much usage. Well, if you didn't give Todd Gurley usage, you're going to go from a 1 seed in the playoffs to a team that's not even in the playoffs.
Okay, see, so now he has to go over the next the next 11 games, Super Bowl included, just be what they were the first 11 games last season.
I can't buy into him. That's a no for me. Next one, Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Yep.
Who do you have? Who next?
49ers.
49ers, yes.
I'm still skeptical on them, but yes.
Next up for me, I have the Minnesota Vikings. They can run the ball. They can play defense. And just so happens Kirk Cousins has looked very good over the last few weeks. I know this week was kind of, a weird one. They lost, but that Chiefs team's still really freaking good, even though Patrick Mahomes.
That Chiefs team is very good. I like the Vikings.
Yes, I
like the team a lot. It's just every time Kirk Cousins gets in a big game, in fact, everybody's watching him, he tights ass it.
He's terrible.
He's
terrible.
Like his ass should not be any tighter in those moments.
But the thing is that I can't rely on a guy just to not show up for a big game. Like, I know Kirk Cousins is about as reliable as that is, but I'm just saying that as far as the talent, what they've done, what have you done for me lately, I think the Vikings have to be in.
I'm a Red Sox fan, and David Price, up until one game last season,
all it takes is one.
Couldn't get in the postseason. And
all it takes is one.
I doubted him legitimately out of the entire pushing last year. Even making the claim saying, if he won that game 5, I'd buy David Price Fathead. Which, by the way, Fathead, it's been over a year now. I've not got this thing yet.
They don't even make them.
They don't make them. They told me for a year now they're going to make these damn Fatheads. Never got it done. So if I see Kirk Cousins do it, sure, that's fine. But I'm one of the guys who has to see it first.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the rest of our contender card, like, we have Patrick Mahomes, who he's never been into a Super Bowl. The Ravens, he hasn't won a playoff game in his life. Lamar Jackson. Dak Prescott, I think he's won 2 playoff games. Never been to, I don't even think he's been to the NFC Championship, has he? Maybe the first year he was
Who?
there. Dak Prescott. No, I don't think
no.
he has. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't. Like, I know what you're saying, but like, Kirk Cousins is the only guy that everybody has to see at first. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, oh, Kirk Cousins obviously can't win in the playoffs. Well, a lot of people haven't won in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Somebody has to win in the playoffs. And I think Kirk Cousins has enough around him
it's because
to do it.
They say it because of how he's lost the games.
Oh, no.
Because he's up there with some of the worst ways to lose games.
Oh, yeah. No, he absolutely is. So no on the Vikings then?
No on the Vikings.
Okay. Last up, who do you have?
Okay, so there's the Packers.
Yes.
They're there. They're in because they're Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
However, the defense, since week 3, 34 points at home against the Eagles.
Wait, who'd they play the first 3 weeks, though?
Bears.
Okay. Terrible offense.
Vikings at home.
That was in the weird Kirk Cousins face.
That's a weird game.
Yeah.
And then they played Denver at home.
A terrible
Okay,
offense.
so Philadelphia at home, get 34 points, lost. At Dallas, 24 points, won. At home against Detroit, 22 points. At home against Oakland, 24 points. On the road against Matt Moore, 24 points. And Matt Moore's first start 2 weeks removed from being a high school football coach. And this past week, on the road, 26 points to the Chargers.
They're the Texans with Aaron Rodgers.
Legitimately, that defense, it's not terrible. You know, they're not allowing huge numbers of points. But if Aaron Rodgers cannot, this is true for A&M football, actually. The offense can't score, which, you know, they scored 30 points one game this season.
Yeah, no, it's not a great offense. It has Aaron Rodgers.
I'm skeptical about him. Then because they Aaron Rodgers, but I'm a skeptic on him.
Yeah, I'm skeptical as well. But I mean, if you look at this team, they have enough talent to do it. Especially whenever you look at who they have under center. So yeah, they have to be in.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the pretender of the century through the first 9 weeks. This is the best team record, but there might be the worst team. Who is your top pretender?
49ers.
49ers?
I mean, they're 8-0, and I don't know what it is anymore. It's just like we saw Garoppolo do it last week, but like you said in your thoughts, against the Cardinals,
yes.
who everybody can do it
does
against.
That.
So I'm going to say the Texans. Leading the division, lost Jersey Watt. The secondary is awful. The defense can be significantly worse now. Will Fuller is out. How long can Deshaun Watson carry him? And Deshaun Watson might get hit again.
Yes.
So it's just like, Deshaun Watson takes a lot of hits. Larry Tunsil was out this past week. Will he be out longer? So I'm with the Texans.
I'm actually going to go with the Patriots. I just, if you look at their resume, it's not that impressive. Like, you have a team that has scored so many points on defense that it's just not even realistic. It is not realistic for that to happen. So I can't buy into that. I think the defense is good. I think the offense is mediocre at best. I don't know where the win is that makes you say that's a good football team. They played against the Bills. They knocked out Josh Allen. They got 2 full quarters of Matt Barkley and a blocked punt for a touchdown. They win by 6 points. And it could have been closer because the Bills drove all the way down the field with Matt Barkley and elected to go for it on a 4th down instead of taking like a 15-yard field goal. So you're looking at a one-possession game. Hell, Matt Barkley, if Josh Allen's there, all he's going to do is run a quarterback sneak. The Bills win that game. And then the only other team that you play with a winning record is the Ravens, and they dismantle you. And this is a team, the Ravens team, that I wasn't big on in the first place, who's been dismantled by the Browns one game this season. So I think it has to be the Patriots. I mean, I just don't think that they're as good as what everybody is basically crowned them as. I had heard that they were the only team that could win the AFC as of last week. And here we are talking about how they just got beat by the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
All right, next up. The team that has underperformed the most through the first 9 weeks.
I'm going to go with the Chargers, actually. This football team, they're 4-5, but they're the only team with a losing record that had a positive point differential. So they just showed the underperforming what they could be. And like we talked about earlier, it's because every Charger game somehow, some way, is the same thing.
Yes.
They will have the game lost in the first half, come back, and with 2 minutes or field on the clock, footballers will have the ball in his hands to win or lose the game.
I'm pretty sure they missed a field goal once this year to lose a game. They lost the game against the Titans on the 1-yard line, and then they had the ball with a chance to win it against the Steelers.
Yes.
So that's like 3 games. Every single game's the same.
The game's the same, and like Drake said, they get Dylan James back. He said a very good roster. And like also said, they will be 9-7 and wild cards by the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My biggest underperformer has to be the Chicago Bears. This team has had 8 games so far. They have had 5 halves of football with 3 or fewer points. Think about that for a second. Absolutely terrible. If the team played with any urgency like they do in the second half of games, they would actually, be a lot more competitive. I considered putting the Chargers here, but the Chargers at least show that they have a pulse as of late. So the Bears, losers of 4 in a row, have to be my pick for the underperformer of the century. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the MVP. My guy, my preseason pick, Russell Wilson, has thrown his name in the hat for sure. I think there's probably 2 guys you could realistically argue over. I think that we are going to probably get to that point. Who do you like for the MVP?
So I have 3 guys.
Okay.
That I can see.
Matthew Stafford.
4 guys. 4 I think. Man, if the Lions could win some games, yes. Like, if the Lions could get some fucking wins, absolutely. Yeah, he's in there.
Dude, I love Matthew Stafford's having, like, maybe the best season of his career, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
They're just like, it's just Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
Adding his stats.
Okay, so my number 1 pick, most valuable player, is Russell Wilson. His preseason pick. 1 reception all year long, 118 rating, 2 touchdowns, 25 total touchdowns. a very short distance to number 2 with Christian McCaffrey, because right before he is carrying that team. And then a bit more distance to 3A and 3B, Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. You get Deshaun Watson stagger Pitt Wilson stats. They're basically identical. Wilson just has 4 more passing touchdowns and 4 fewer interceptions. That's why I give him the big boost over Deshaun Watson. And the other one being Lamar Jackson. Without Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, the Ravens and the Texans are dead in the water already. Those two guys play a major impact on keeping their teams where they are right now, in contention and leading the division.
Yeah, I agree with those 4 being up there for sure. I'm really going to go with 1. And I think it has to be Christian McCaffrey. I really do. Like, if you look at what happens whenever you take away, let's say, the reigning MVP from last year, Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. What do you have? You have a team with the Chiefs that are still pretty good.
Yeah.
If you took Russell Wilson...
Whoa. Oh, you skip Bayless?
No.
Is this your cut right now?
No, absolutely not. We will get to that, though, because I do have to discuss that. If you took Russell Wilson away from the Seahawks, they're definitely probably not a playoff team.
They're toast, man.
But they're competitive, just because they can run the ball. If you took Christian McCaffrey away from this Panthers team, you legitimately have nothing. You have Kyle Allen, you have DJ Moore, Curtis Samuels, and a 40-year-old Greg Olsen on offense. Out of their 22 offensive touchdowns this season for the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey has been responsible for 13. Well over half. If you look at what he is on pace for, the guy is going at a record pace. If he continues what he is averaging right now per game, he will have the second highest scrimmage yards in NFL history behind Chris Johnson back in like 2009 or whenever he went absolutely berserk. So he'll be second in yards, and he'll be fourth in touchdowns, and he'll be tied with Marshall Faulk as far as receiving and rushing touchdowns. I think he's on pace for 26 right now. So if you look at what he's doing, he is setting a historic pace at the running back position. What we're seeing from Russell Wilson is a historic efficiency season, but as far as just the total numbers, it's not like he's out there throwing for 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
Because what this guy is doing, Christian McCaffrey, is the equivalent of what we saw Patrick Mahomes do last year, where he's throwing for 50 touchdowns, he's throwing for 5,000 yards. Like, what you're seeing right now at the running back position, we have not seen probably since Adrian Peterson back whenever he was with the Vikings.
So, and McCaffrey will win the Offensive Player of the Year award, but MVP is Russell Wilson's, and here's why. Quarterback 1. He is leading the league in passing touchdowns, third in the league in passing yards, 1 interception. The Seahawks as a team have scored the 4th most points this season with 248 points. They have also allowed the 5th most points this year at 230. Plus 18 differential. Without Russell Wilson...
They're plus 18 point differential on the season?
But that defense is not good anymore.
No, it's not.
They have Bobby Wagner.
They have Bobby Wagner, Ziggy Ansah, and
Jadeveon Clowney. And Jadeveon Clowney might be the most underachieving player in the history of football. He is the high school player on your team who doesn't want to work out because he's so much better than anybody else.
Yes.
But without Russell Wilson, the Seahawks are just dead in the water.
They are.
He is, like you said, most efficient quarterback in the league this year. After Deshaun Watson, same percent to 68%. 1 interception, lead the league in passing touchdowns, second in the league in passing yards, third in the league in passing yards, and he is leading them 2 games.
One interception.
One interception. If the defense was what it was in 2013, 2014, I would agree with you. It's Christian McCaffrey. But because of how the defense is not what it used to be, Russell Wilson has to win the MVP award, because without him, you're looking at a team that honestly might lose to the Bengals.
Yeah, no.
Well, not lose to the Bengals, but
they're not going to be that bad.
They lost the Buccaneers yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. But, dude, like these numbers that Christian McCaffrey is putting up is like such a rarity. This is like an NFL defensive end going out there and getting 30 sacks. Like, it's the equivalent of a wide receiver going for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. Like, that's what we're looking at with this guy. just so happens he doesn't play the quarterback position. He's not going to win it. Russell Wilson will, but what they're going to do, like they always do, MVP is going to go to the quarterback, and then the player of the year offensively is going to go to Christian McCaffrey.
See, this is a story of McCaffrey's life, though. In college, he lost the Heisman Trophy, which he should have won, to Derrick Henry because he played for Alabama.
Yes. No, it's exactly what happened.
And that's why. If Derrick Henry played for LSU or Auburn, McCaffrey would have the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He played for Alabama, and it's them being Alabama, Derrick Henry got more votes.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely dominated, I thought, on the field. He had one of the best seasons ever since, like, Barry Sanders. And, whenever you're throwing your name in the hat of Barry Sanders and Derrick Henry wins an award over you, this just sums it up. And I think this Russell Wilson thing is going to be very similar. But hopefully Christian McCaffrey can get at least one, because what he's doing right now at the running back position, we have not seen since, like, Adrian Peterson, where, hey, this guy will just win the game. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. All right, defensive player of the year. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with Dan McCourty because he played for the best defense statistically ever, and that's going to get a whole lot of votes, and he leads the league in interceptions. That's a pretty big part of that defense. And this defense doesn't have any big stars. Stephon Gilmore's there. So it would be him with Stephon Gilmore, I think, get it. But I'm going to go with Devin McCourty.
Yeah, I actually kind of went outside the box on this one, and I think that this guy has a legitimate chance come Week 16. Minkah Fitzpatrick. What he is doing right now for that Steelers defense, and I have no doubt that it's going to continue just for what he's doing. They're putting him in the best situations possible. The guy has 2 forced fumbles. He has 4 interceptions. He has a pick 6. The only problem is we don't see safeties win this award a lot just because of the fact that, they're not getting the sack numbers. They don't have the, strip sacks and all that. So I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is very deserving of it through the first 9 weeks here, and I think that stock is actually going to continue to rise now that he's on a defense that has a pulse, that can get to the quarterback, create bad passes. Minkah Fitzpatrick is an absolute ball hawk.
Yeah.
All right, defense rookie of the year. Who do you like? Defensive? Yes.
Nick Bosa.
Nick has to be.
He put up really good numbers for one of the best defenses in the league. And undefeated.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a layup.
Oh, yeah.
Offensive rookie of the year. We said that there was only one guy who had the chance to win it this year, and it was Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Do you stand with that?
So today has to be Josh Jacobs. He's carrying the Oakland Raiders right now, and he's whole goes back great. But I think by week 17, it's going to be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray looks really good the past 3 or 4 weeks. I think he'll continue to play at the same pace for the rest of the season.
See, I actually went with Gardner Minshew on this one.
That'd be cool with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, and I think that it's almost deserving, and I think people don't realize that this dude's a rookie. If you put him head-to-head with Kyler Murray, he actually has fewer pass attempts, more touchdowns, and more yards. Since he's been quarterback, they're 4-4. They're keeping their head above water, and he's made DJ Chark a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. Chris Conley, he actually looks like he knows how to play football now with Gardner Minshew. I really, really like this. And I think that he's just not getting the value just because he happened to be a 6th-round draft pick, and he is a rookie. All right, Coach of the Year. This one's a layup, I think.
John Gruden?
No, I didn't go with John Gruden.
He's second, though, on my list.
Yeah,
Kyle Shanahan's number 1. Obvious reasons. But John Gruden, though, dude, Raiders past 2 weeks, they're buying into John Gruden.
Yeah.
He has them looking good.
No, he has them looking very good. And they look like they're a team that might be able to make the playoffs. Like, he's giving a pulse back to Derek Carr, who everybody had written off. He's using Josh Jacobs very, very well. A lot of stuff's going in the right direction for them. I think that you almost have to go with Kyle Shanahan here because they are undefeated. They were a bad team last year. What he's doing, running the ball, he's basically reinvented the wheel running the ball. Like, it's just in the most bizarre ways possible. They're firing on all cylinders. I think my number 2 would have to be Sean Payton just because of the adversity he's had to face, and they've still only lost 1 game this year.
Yeah, Sean Payton. Yeah. Sean Payton, Coach of the Year. I forgot I'm on that take.
Ever since, if he has a quarterback that started the game, finished the game, the Saints are undefeated. The only game that they lost, they had to take out Drew Brees, and Teddy Bridgewater had to come in. Basically, ill prepared.
And then somehow in 2 weeks, be able to figure out how to throw football falling 15 yards down the field.
Yes.
Amazing progression.
Yeah, amazing progression.
Maybe Matt Nagy gives Sean Payton a call.
Yeah, I know Teddy Bridgewater's pulling for him to be Coach of the Year, especially for the contract he's going to get next year. All right, so each week we play darts. Darts is a staple of the show. What are we playing this week?
So I was inspired by my Freddy Kitchens barbecue joint take, so we're going to play the lookalike game.
The lookalike game.
Yep.
Okay.
I think if I can look at a guy who cooked barbecue for himself for his own restaurant.
Okay. So how? I assume this is how it's going to work. We're going to throw a dart at a dartboard, and we have to say what the guy looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. So each number on the dartboard will represent a different player, person, coach in sports, and we will talk about what they look like. I think we did something similar to this, like what their job was.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they would do.
What the job would be. Yeah.
Yes. What their job would be. Very similar. So wait and see what your throw first. And we have a 10.
A 10 is Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Okay, Kyler Murray.
This one's tough.
It is tough.
He doesn't really look like anything specific other than maybe a baseball player.
You know what? He might have been built though at some point in time.
Kyler Murray.
Okay. So we got a short little guy. Short arms with
I know what he did.
What's he got?
He would work. He looks like a guy that you would see at a movie theater selling tickets behind the booth.
He's the guy who's managing the ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese to make sure no kids are drowning. Yeah. And in the end, he can't reach the ball because arms are too short, so he has to get in the ball pit. And he looks natural in the ball pit.
Yeah, I absolutely think that he would be something like entertainment related. Like he would either be working at a Chuck E. Cheese, or he would be, the guy you see at AMC that's punching your ticket, letting you get in. The guy who's scanning your card for rewards. I think that plays.
Yeah, he's an overly happy kid.
Yeah, and that's really what he is. He always looks like he's just way too happy to be doing whatever he's doing. And the guy who works at the front desk at AMC, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, now my throw. We have a 14.
14. Now the quarterback, Matthew Stafford.
Ooh, Matthew Stafford. This one's going to be tough.
Matthew Stafford looks like the dad on the beach enjoying like his 14th beer. But it's entirely athletic when it comes time to do the beach games.
Yeah, I assume he'd wear a T-shirt on the beach, right? Just like a white T-shirt.
Yeah, that's how I'm imagining. Sunglasses on.
Yeah. Can we say that Matthew Stafford looks like a man who every year uses every single one of his points on his timeshare?
He maximizes the timeshare for sure.
He maximizes his timeshare.
He breaks it all down.
Yeah, he's a vacation expert, father, guy who's, he's got his T-shirt on the beach during the sunlight hours because he doesn't want to get the sunburn. He is a vacation expert. We all know this dad, grill master. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That is Matthew Stafford.
Or you go this route. He's the piece of shit stockbroker that has made a whole lot of money doing what he does and drives a Bugatti and bangs every chick you want to bang. And you still like him for it.
Well, I don't know if I get that vibe. I think he's more of the not happy.
I've never seen him smile.
Yeah, he's just more of the, I'm just like chilling out, almost similar to the Jay Cutler vacation pictures. But Matthew Stafford is the well-adjusted adult version of the Jay Cutler.
Maybe he's kind of a jaw hanger, though. You know what I mean? Like his mouth's kind of always half open.
Yeah, catches flies. He'd be a fly catcher.
Catch some flies, fly catcher.
Yeah, I think I have to stick with the timeshare owner who maximizes every single point. He gets all the rewards. He's a vacation expert, Matthew Stafford.
Vacation expert.
All right, now your throw. And we have a 4.
4. Dak Prescott.
Oh, this one's tough.
Carl Sullivan. 100%.
Sell a lemon to anybody.
100%. He has. He's very clean cut. He has like the same length beard and hair. You can see him being like one of those big Hollywood cutouts selling a car to you before you walk in the door. You walk in the door to Dak Prescott, say next to your brand new GMC truck with the step up tailgate.
Absolutely.
That's it. Black shirt, black pants.
He is a billboard face cardboard cutout guy that you see in every single car lot that you go to.
Well, honestly, I would make it even wider. Just salesman. I can see him selling mattresses too.
Yeah.
Like he's a cardboard cutout.
Yes, door-to-door salesman. Even I could see him just knocking on your door, and you open the door, and he's standing there with a vacuum cleaner, and he's like, "You have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I can spare you." And then in 10 minutes, he's got your whole entire house clean with this one vacuum, and he's already sold you 4 of them.
Yeah, and then he pulled out 2 containers. He said, "Look, this is what your vacuum does." He pulled it back, and you just emptied it that day. He goes, "Oh crap, vacuum the other day? Yeah. Oh well, this will make a vacuum."
Yeah, no, he could. Salesman. Dak Prescott. Dakota Rain Prescott. All right, last throw. And we have a 7.
A 7. Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Ooh. Matt Ryan. What does Matt Ryan look like?
Matt Ryan had an NFL quarterback because that's all I've seen him do for about 13 years now.
Yeah, I know. See, he's you can't even really take him out of there. I just look at him and all I see is Boston College.
He's kind of like a farmer, kind of.
Yeah, he could definitely. I can
see him being a farmer, like a fisher, like a professional fisher.
A professional fisherman for sure.
Yeah.
I can also see with him. I've lost it already. I saw him like a. What does he look like? He just looks like an average guy.
I can picture him as in like overall with a hat on being a farmer, or like those like WeatherTech t-shirts all fishermen wear that only they can find in places.
Yeah, I could definitely see him just doing like the fisherman route. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if he sells as a professional fisherman. Maybe the guy that that has like the nicest boat, the nicest truck, like has the best setup to go fishing, mm-hmm. but he's just like he doesn't catch a whole lot of fish.
Yeah.
Like he plays the roll up as the fisherman, but he's just not good at what he does. And it's been consistent for him playing the quarterback position too. I could honestly see him being just. I don't know what his actual job title would be, but he would just be a guy that goes fishing all the time and has the best setup to go fishing, but he can't catch anything.
Yeah, see, to me, I can picture him right now. Like, I don't know, he had the jaw make you think that he would just run a farm. Like, and his wife make homemade biscuits every morning. And his kid, Jack and Sally, would grow up and raise the farm.
Yes, I could definitely see that. I could honestly see Matthew Stafford Farmer in the Boston area.
Matthew Stafford Farmer.
All right. So we'll go ahead and put a bow on this segment for now. I actually like that. We'll bring that back, and we'll do... Yeah, I like doing those. You got to write Mike Leach on the ballot, though, next time.
Leach?
Mike Leach has to fit in for one of those guys. Make him number 4, because I'll go right back to the well next week.
Right.
So let's go ahead and do some Week 10 storylines. Only real big storyline here. Willie Taggart gets fired. Was this fair to fire him a year and a half into his stint?
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Take it away, Drake. Tell us why.
So you look at Willie Taggart, and what have you done for me? This guy has been around for a very, very long time, long enough to have a career record of 47-50, below 500. He coached at Western Kentucky. He went 16-20. He ends up getting an upgrade in a job somehow, some way. Goes to USF. He had a 10-win season at USF, and he still finished with a career 24-25 record at USF. Goes to Oregon. He's 7-5. Basically, his talent was better than everybody else's in the Pac-12, and he still finds a way to go 7-5. Then he goes to Florida State, where he goes 9-12. Like, the only other job that's more desirable, probably in college football, would be like a Texas A&M, and Alabama, and he just happened to, or Clemson now. Mm-hmm. He happened to walk right into one of the best coaching situations ever with Florida State. A ton of talent every single year, and he still manages to go 9-12. The guy has one season where he's won 9 or more games. This is absolutely the right thing to do to fire him, but I don't know what they thought they were getting with him, because this is exactly what he is, and to fire him a year and a half into this stint is just so mind-boggling to me, because what did you expect? Did you expect him to come in and immediately win now? Because that's not what he does. He never has. He won't. I absolutely don't get the hire. I understand the firing. They should have done it a year and a half ago, the second that he signed on the dotted line, but I don't see what they thought they were getting.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. And from day one, you're like, okay, well, not the greatest start in the world, but you get high hope because it's Florida State. They're good talent, but then it just never got better.
No, absolutely. What do you think's next for Taggart? Do you think that he gets a job right away, or I really don't know who's going to hire him.
He'll be a recruiter for somebody.
Yeah, I mean he can recruit. He does well there.
He won't be head coach anywhere.
No,
there's no way at any level. Maybe D2, but he won't do that.
No,
so he'll be a position coach or recruiter probably.
Yeah, I could see him going into a situation, kind of like how Lane Kiffin got that job at Florida Atlantic, just like. And he just rides that out. Just be complacent at a smaller school. You can recruit better because you are the guy who coached at Florida State. You are the guy who coached at Oregon.
Okay.
I could see a smaller level school, but nobody that is a Power 5 school should be signing up to hire Willie Taggart. He's not going to turn a program.
So you think he'll work for Alabama next season, and then he'll leave for the bowl game and be coach at Rice?
Yes, that's 100% what's next.
All
he's
right.
going to sign on to the Alabama staff, and whatever he coaches, he's going to coach well.
Okay.
Because that's just Alabama and how it works. So, Week 11 college football preview. We have two of the biggest matchups we've had all season. Here we are 11 weeks in, and we have four teams that are still undefeated, and they happen to be playing each other. This is a rarity. It really is. But we'll start off first with number 18 Iowa at number 16 Wisconsin. Who's going to win this game?
I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Wisconsin right now being 16th in the country, the equivalent to that college basketball team in the tournament that's really underseeded, but it's just because of their circumstance, and that's what this is.
Yes.
They got housed by Ohio State, and teams that were way behind were now winning the game they needed to win, so they keep falling back in the ranking to 16. Still phenomenal college football team. They're going to beat Iowa. The game could be close, but I don't think it will be.
No, I don't think it will be. I think this is one of those situations that we're going to be talking about next week. Wisconsin blanked another team.
Yeah.
They cannot score. Every time that they play to step up in competition, they just cannot score. They can't move the ball. You even just look back to the Michigan game that they had played. They cannot move the ball on anybody, and especially a team with a pulse like Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin absolutely houses Iowa this week. So let's go ahead and go to our two matchups of undefeated teams. We'll start first in the Big Ten with number 5 Penn State at number 13 Minnesota. Minnesota being number 13 is one of the biggest slaps in the face in college football right now. But what do you think will be the keys for both teams to win this game?
So key for Penn State is obviously be their defense. The defense being led them to its 8-0 record right now, and if Clifford and the offense can get anything going really at all, I think they'll have no problem being Minnesota. And the same way to go get Minnesota, they need the defense to stop the offense because it's basically the exact opposite. The offense has to score points, but they need to stop Penn State's offense just a few times.
Yes, so what we're getting in this matchup, we're getting a top 14 offense with Minnesota. They're scoring 38 points a game, and you're getting a top 2 defense in the country with Penn State, who's averaging less than 10 points against, which is absolutely crazy. Penn State, you think of their coach with James Franklin, you think offense. This team is built around the defense, and the defense is great. For Minnesota, I think that the key has to be that you stop Penn State, because you are not going to score a ton of points on this defense. I don't care how good your offense is. You are not going to go out there and score your average of 38, so you have to get turnovers. I think that if Minnesota is able to get 2 turnovers early in a drive, set themselves up with short field position, they can win this game. But if they don't get 2 turnovers in this game, I don't think Minnesota has a chance to win this game. Who do you think will win this game? This is tough, dude. This is. I love PJ Fleck.
I know.
I love PJ Fleck.
But if it was at Penn State, it'd be a really easy choice. It'd be going Penn State. I'm going to go Penn State still. Because I think they always a more talented team, and a lot of times college football, talent is what comes out and wins the games when it really matters. But I think it'd be a super close game.
I do think this is going to be a close game. I mean, we saw Penn State already have a close game this year against Pitt. In Pitt, the key for them was to get some opportune turnovers. I think Minnesota will fall short in this game. I think Penn State is the better team just all around. I have my questions about Minnesota on the defensive side of the ball. They really haven't been tested as of late. They've got to play their games against Rutgers and other teams that just cannot score on anybody. And I think this is going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be very low scoring. I'm going to go like a 20-17 game in favor of Penn State. But I do hope PJ Fleck wins this game. And if Minnesota does win this game, where do you think they go in the rankings? Do you think they jump all the way up and say, take the number 5 spot from Penn State?
I think they will jump up. Miss Casey.
Because they're still ranked below a lot of teams.
I think they're going to jump up right behind the top-ranked Pac-12 team. So they'll be right in between Utah and Oregon. How those teams fall, I think they will be smack down in the middle. Because the committee, I think it's the weekend of this week, right?
What is this?
The first AP rankings are tomorrow.
I actually think so.
Okay, so the committee will go, okay, you know what? We got to put them somewhere. Let's put them right between Penn, Oregon, and Utah. Because that will let things sort itself out, which the committee loves doing.
Yes.
So they're having hard decisions because Utah, Oregon, one of those teams will lose to the other one, and Minnesota or Ohio State will lose to the other one.
Yeah, I think if Minnesota wins this game, it's going to be one of the top 5 wins that any team's had all season. Mm-hmm. And then whenever you look at top 25 teams that have had wins, it has to be a top 3 type of win for them. So I do think that they are going to jump up. I don't think that they're going to put them over both Pac-12 teams. Just like you said, I could see them smacking them right between Oregon and right between Utah. That way, everything will sort itself out eventually. Because if they leapfrog Minnesota all the way up to 8 spots over teams that just didn't lose this week, it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows saying, where were you at on Minnesota earlier? Now that they have finally one big win means this much. I don't think they'll do that. Mm-hmm. All right, biggest game of the year, 1 versus 2. We have LSU traveling to Alabama. What are the keys for both of these teams? Obviously, it's Tua Tagovailoa.
Obviously, yes, that's a humongous key. Yeah, his health. But I'm going to hit it down. I'm going to assume he's going to play. He will play healthy. I think he'll be. I think he'll be fine. I'm going to really hard to say Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Joe Burrow has torn up everybody all season long. The LSU defense has not stopped anybody at all this season. So Joe Burrow, can you do it? Can you do it another week in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah,
that's a game for me right there, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And if you look at what Joe Burrow's done, he's been probably the best quarterback in all of college football up to this point. And a lot of people are going to talk about the health of Tua Tagovailoa. I know that it's important, but I don't think it's the most important quarterback in this game. Joe Burrow last year went up against Alabama and did not score a single point. So I think that's right. They didn't score last year at all, did they?
No.
Okay, so I think the offense is the key, obviously, for LSU to win. They're dropping 40 points on everybody. I think it's more of a mental thing playing Alabama than what it actually is this year. And we've talked about this Alabama defense. It's not the same of what we've seen years past. And in this game, I want to see if this Alabama defense has just been taking it lightly just because they know what they have on the offensive side of the ball and they can score every single time. Last week, we saw them, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we saw them without Tua Tagovailoa. The defense had a much higher energy level. They ended up only allowing 7 points, and it was late in the game. They were absolutely dominant again. They looked like Alabama's old school defense, but if they don't bring that tenacity to this game, Alabama will lose this game if they allow LSU to score points just like LSU has all season. Mm-hmm. So I have to ask, who wins? Alabama, LSU? It is a surprisingly big spread, the number 6.5 in favor of Alabama, but who do you like?
So, middle of last season, right before the Conference Championship game, Alabama was the favorite, but everything in my body told me Clemson would win that game in a rout. I feel the same thing about LSU. I might not be a rout, but everything in my body is telling me that LSU can come in and Texas can win this game. So, I feel it's 1 for 1. Go to LSU again.
I absolutely agree. I think LSU is going to score a ton of points this week. In Alabama, I think the defensive line for LSU is going to bring it. Obviously, Coach O has his thumb on that defensive line. He's on top of him. That is his group of guys. I think they're going to be able to get pressure on Tagovailoa. He's going to have to get the ball out of his hands, and he's very, very good at that. He throws a ton of slants early, 2 seconds. But I think that they're going to get enough pressure on him that whenever those immediate slants aren't open, it's going to cause some concern, especially for a guy who probably is going to have a little bit of limited mobility, and you can't have any limited mobility playing against this LSU team. And plus, just from what I've seen this year, this LSU team is battle-tested. They have played some of the best teams in college football, and they're still able to rout those teams. I think LSU wins this game. I'm going to say probably 35-21. I think they're going to win this game kind of going away, and it's going to surprise a lot of people. So, what is your lock bet of the week?
My bet of the week, I'm going to go Baylor -2 at TCU. So -2 spread to scream suckers bet.
Yes.
Okay, that's what this is. Baylor will now lose this game handily. But for what on paper, Baylor is the best team in Texas right now. They're going to go at TCU, who is 4-4. TCU has a whole lot of points. I think Baylor come out there with this win. We've seen Baylor in close game the past couple of weeks. They need it one more time, win this game by a whole 3 points.
Yeah, I think what helps Baylor the most in this spot is that they did play, I think it was a Thursday game, Thursday, Friday.
West Virginia.
Yep, they played early, so they have more time to prepare for this game. A short travel, so, just going to TCU, it's not that big of a deal for them. I do actually like that game a lot. My lock bet, though, is going to be Wake Forest -2 versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech obviously played Notre Dame very close this week. A heartbreaking loss. Usually teams don't respond well after losing games like that, and we know this Wake Forest team is very, very good, and they do put up a ton of points. I really like Wake Forest this week. Top 25 team on upset alert. Who do you have?
I want Oklahoma. I always say the team I talked about before the season started as a team I thought could compete for a Big 12 title. Obviously, something didn't go right early in the season. That can happen now. But as of late, they're playing really good football. And so Oklahoma got the first game last week, so maybe the coaches and the college football have kind of tried to figure out how to stop Oklahoma a little bit. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's a game I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, I will be locked into that game. I think that game will be a very, very good game. I actually have Notre Dame versus Duke. So Duke, week one they come out against Alabama where they had a ton of time to prepare for that game, and they ended up losing that game. But they were close at halftime. It was 14-3. So if you can slow Alabama down, I know you can slow down Notre Dame with time to prepare. They're coming off of a bye week. Notre Dame obviously had to bust out all the tricks this last week just to beat Virginia Tech. Duke is obviously better than Virginia Tech. Beat them 45-10 earlier this year. I actually really like Duke to pull off this upset this week. Game that interests you the most. Where are you going for this week?
I'm going to Alabama LSU. They're like nowhere else.
Yeah, no, I think that's the obvious one. I threw on there TCU Baylor just because it has a lot of implications to what's going to happen with the Big 12. The Big 12 has to have Baylor win this game to have a prayer at the playoff. But yes, Alabama LSU, that's all it is. All right, so it is time for the shittiest take of the week. We watch a lot of sports television, listen to a lot of sports radio. What is your worst take of the week?
This morning, Clay Travis was talking about Adam Gase and the New York Jets, and he was saying how it can't all be on Adam Gase because the Jets team is just so bad. And yeah, Clay, they are really bad. But the point of Adam Gase being there is to progress Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold has looked good at me one game all season long.
Yes.
Yeah, he had the mono issue, but but during that time, he could still practice. He couldn't take contact. So he's still been there. He's been throwing footballs. He's been watching film. And all the other things, you have to take some of the blame off Adam Gase and put it on Sam Darnold. Yes, Adam Gase has done probably top 2-3 worst job of head coaching this year in the NFL. But you got to put some of the blame on somebody else. It can't all be on Adam Gase.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I don't know exactly where he's trying to go with that, but it is Clay Travis, and we kind of expect things out of him with that. Sam Darnold does take some of this blame, but, the back-breaking interception that they had on the goal line from the Jets, was an Adam Gase play design where you take Sam Darnold running to the short side of the field, have two wide receivers that are standing basically right next to each other, and Sam Darnold's running to his weak side. So what does he do? He obviously throws an interception. This Jets team is an absolute mess. Like we said earlier, this is probably the worst situation in all of the NFL. My shittiest take of the week is actually going to go out to Skip Bayless. So he has been absolutely on fire with these terrible takes. And yesterday he tweeted, Matt Moore beats Kirk Cousins, as I predicted on Undisputed. I'm certainly not saying Matt Moore is better than Mahomes, but the Chiefs are playing with more spirit and fight than they did for Mahomes, who lost his last 2 games. So I know that he comes off right at the beginning and says, I'm certainly not saying that Matt Moore is better than Mahomes. Mm-hmm. But then the whole entire rest of the situation that you, or the tweet out there, says that you believe that this team is better with Matt Moore. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely crazy. You hint at the fact that Mahomes lost his last 2 home games. Just a week ago, Matt Moore also lost a home game. And he almost lost another home game this week had it not been for some inopportune turnovers by the Vikings late in the game. They had a lot of things go their way, the Chiefs did. I don't know how you can say that they play with more spirit behind Matt Moore whenever we obviously know that this team's better with Patrick Mahomes, and you just say that you're not saying he's better than Patrick Mahomes, but the rest of the tweet supports that you believe that. Absolutely crazy. We're talking about a guy who is the reigning MVP and a guy who probably won a conference championship last year coaching high school football. Wasn't even playing in the NFL. So, Skip, you're an all-timer, man.
So this is why Skip has the best job in the world. And that's being paid 7 figures to just make people pissed off.
Yes, that's all he does.
That's all he does. He's sick of the little thing, ooh, Matt Moore is winning games. Patrick Mahomes was not. Matt Moore has to be better than Patrick Mahomes.
Time to fire off. I absolutely love it. So let's go to some MLB chatter. We have the Nationals, 2019 World Series champs. Where does this stand as most unlikely World Series champs of your recent memory?
Just ahead of the 2015 Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals that year were at least good throughout the entire season long. On May 18th, the Nationals were well under 500 and well out of the playoffs. And then they actually caught fire since the best team in baseball since that day, and then won a World Series.
Yes, I agree. I think that as far as in my lifetime, this is probably the most unlikely team to win a World Series. You can think back to whenever the Boston Red Sox pulled off the 4 games in a row after being down 0-3. But like that Boston Red Sox team was actually very, very good.
Yeah.
Like this team, coming into this season, you knew that they had, some young talent. You knew that they had 3 pitchers that were very good. Everything else was a question mark on this team. And for them to go head-to-head with one of the biggest favorites in World Series history and beat them, all 4 games being on the road, I think you have to say that this is the most unlikely champion in recent memory in baseball. I mean, they beat Verlander twice. They beat Zach Greinke twice. Like, the guys that they beat are so good, it's really not even funny. And the fact that they were able to pull it off, basically an underdog in every single game, has to be the most unlikely in recent memory. So Strasburg, named World Series MVP. Do you think that this actually pays off for being shut down so many years in a row right before the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. No, I mean, this is why they did it, right here.
Yep.
They proved that this worked. When the year he almost won the Cy Young Award, and they bitched him for the playoffs, and they lost in the first round, 6 years later, here we are.
Yep. This is finally pay off, and I think Strasburg probably agreed to that because now he's a World Series champion, and he has his health, and he has basically an unlimited paycheck that he's getting his way this offseason.
Yep.
Garrett Cole maybe did the weirdest thing I've seen. He took his first press conference after the World Series wearing a Scott Boras hat and referred to himself as a free agent. What do you make of this? It's a very weird situation. Kind of break that down for me.
So did he actually have on a Scott Boras hat?
Yeah, it was like
that's a real thing.
It was it was Team Boras. I'll pull a picture of it.
I did not see that picture. Okay. Yeah, no, I thought you just said that because that's a metaphorical thing. Until you start talking about it, really, he actually had a hat on.
No, yeah, and he referred to himself as I think it was like a Boras Corp he had some kind of hat on that was
Scott
Scott Boras hat.
Wow. Okay. So Scott Boras really has somebody here drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
He
gets everybody
he
to
had
drink the Kool-Aid.
chugged this Kool-Aid for Scott Boras. Yeah. So Garrett Cole, 2 years ago, had a very, very, very down year in Pittsburgh. Got traded to the Houston Astros. Houston Astros have the best pitching, coaching staff,
Ever.
analytical, really,
Best pint
really
bar.
though ever.
Yes.
Like they increase spin rate by so much. Many joke all the time the only way to increase spin rate on a baseball is steroids or pine tar. So
Nobody's been busted yet.
to take that for what it is, yeah, Garrett Cole made a lot of money this offseason, and it's been one of those. I don't know. I have a feeling it's been one of those times where he holds out, because the money just is not there. Okay, he's 30 years old, just threw a ton of it in the past 2 years, and as history shows us, as you go on throwing inning after inning after inning, 2 or 3 years in a row, and you turn 30, you start hearing a sharp decline.
Yes.
And Fangraphs put out their thing today, like their projection what he'll get. The graph on him was 7 years, $230 to $250 million, so that's
Wow.
$35 million range. That's what Chris Sale got from the Red Sox. Keep that in mind. Chris Sale this season had, for his own standards, a piss poor year. Terrible year. And in the season hurt. Through a lot of innings throughout his career before he signed his mega deal. Teams see that. Recency bias is a real thing. I can see Garrett Cole not signing a deal until February, maybe even March. I do think he'll sign before spring training because he himself will want to get to somewhere.
Yes.
But I think it will be somewhere closer to the mid to low 20s. Zach Greinke got 6 years. Like I think it was $20.5 million deal Zach Greinke has. He'll get above that, but I think he'll be below 30, so at $25 million, maybe $23 million range.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to make him real happy. Honestly, I think
He'll
he's
be
gonna
pissed
come out-
off, no.
Yeah. And you kind of sum it up right here. Like this guy is playing for himself, so he's going to want the most money possible. And the thing that with a hat, imagine this: you wake up that morning, you have the biggest game of your life that evening. You are expected to come out of the bullpen in a Game 7, and before you leave your house to go to the stadium, you pack that Scott Boras hat. He had to have taken that hat to the stadium with him prior to the game. So instead of being dialed in, ready to go, he's thinking of other things other than just, hey, I have to go out there and I have to pitch my best if my time's called, or if my number's called out of the bullpen. So instead of being focused on that game, he's focused about taking a Scott Boras hat just in case they lose. And you know this was all planned. He had this in his mind the second that he woke up that day. He's like, if I don't get in and we lose, I'm gonna wear this hat. I'm gonna make a big deal about it. And instead of actually being ready for that, I think teams are gonna look at that, and not too many teams are gonna take kindly to a guy who's kind of going against organizations, because as we've seen time and time again, these ball clubs stick together and the players are a second thought. And I think that if people look at one thing this offseason and question his character, it's going to be this move, waking up, Game 7, packing the Scott Boras hat before you go into one of the most important games of your life. So let's go ahead and talk about some NBA. It is now in full swing. Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns get into a brawl during a game this week. We'll use the term brawl lightly here. Joel immediately took to Instagram after the fight, basically calling out Karl Anthony Towns, talking about how he's soft and that, Joel Embiid's such this tough guy. What do you make of this whole situation between Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns?
I love it.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
It's great for the game.
It's great.
It's great. Fun to be for the game. The fact that we have two big men in a rivalry now, I didn't know Valley was there until recently, but yeah, I'm happy that it's here.
Yeah, and the best part is that Joel Embiid only makes these rivalries like with guys that he knows he can beat, because you never heard of him trying to get a rivalry started with Al Horford, who Al Horford, statistically speaking, dominates him every single time. And the fact that, Joel Embiid's out there questioning Karl Anthony Towns' toughness and saying how much he's tougher than him, Joel Embiid's missed more games in the NBA than he's actually played. He's missed more shots in the NBA than shots that he's made. So for a guy like Joel Embiid to play this big persona off the court and try to rile people up. It's absolutely hilarious. Like, he doesn't even have his own, his own things in order, but he's going to tell you exactly how your stuff should be ordered. Do you think that the 2-game suspension is sufficient?
Yeah, probably. I mean, with the way this school is spaced out now, that's like half a week, almost a full week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep, I agree. I don't really have a problem. Even if they just gave him like a game or just kicked him out for the remainder of that game, I wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah,
with
it's fine.
It's funny though.
Basically, suspensions for fighting in basketball anymore. Because basketball fights, like last year, Brandon Ingram reached over, hit that guy in the face. Yeah, that's one thing. But this, like, it's more of a scrap. Like, kind of grabbed each other. Like, it wasn't really a fight, man.
Yeah.
Like, the NBA did this just because they got to do something.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's hilarious. I didn't realize Karl Anthony Towns was a guy who made people mad, though.
Me either. Like, I don't think I heard him talk before this. So
no, he's like the nicest guy that you see on a basketball court. Like, I've never seen him have a problem with anybody. And Joel Embiid, he'll find his way. So Steph Curry is now ruled out for 3 months with a hand injury. Klay, Steph, Draymond, all out for the Warriors. Is it safe to say that the 2019 Warriors are already dead?
Oh yeah, toast.
Absolutely.
Yep, they officially now just going to tank for, I don't know who they're going to get, Wiseman, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like at this point you just need to lose games, try to unload D'Angelo Russell for picks, and then basically re-up on what you have. This is going to be your only season that you're bad with these core guys, and it's because none of them are healthy. So go ahead, unload D'Angelo Russell, get more picks, and you just basically rebuild with one bad season of basketball. How bad do you think it is, though, for the NBA with no Steph, no Klay, or Kevin Durant, 3 of probably the biggest 20 stars in the game?
It's bad because the three stars out, but it's worse because now we have 2 teams that aren't going to be competitive in a year where we could have had a dozen or so teams really be competitive.
I agree with that. I think that, obviously we're not going to get to see how these Warriors look the immediately following Kevin Durant's departure. I think, though, that if the NBA could survive 3 players being out for this season, I think these are the 3 guys that they can survive without. Because so much of the media over the last 6 years, and everybody's been fatigued with it, has been Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry. That's all the NBA has talked about over the last 5-6 years. Now we get a chance for other guys to kind of step up into their role. Next year, all these guys should be healthy. Even at the end of this year, you have Steph and you have Klay probably coming back. But I think as far as superstars that they could survive without for this season, we're going to get a breath of fresh air whenever we get them back and they're back into the media. So I don't think this is necessarily a death sentence, losing all 3 of these guys. So Saucy 6-pack of games. It is probably the worst week of the year up to this date. I looked at the games. We are really pulling for games here. This is a real rough spot. We'll start off with the Bills at the Browns. Who wins?
Bills. Bills defense, pretty good. They got a better run defense than they did last week, obviously. They will beat the Browns this week, but the Browns are a dumpster fire.
Oh, the Browns have been absolutely horrible.
Let it boom, baby.
I do think that the Browns win this game, though. You look at what Adrian Peterson did in his first 9 carries against this Bills team. He ran for 9 carries, 101 yards. If the Browns turn around this week and they commit themselves to only running the ball, I think they beat this Bills team. I don't think the Bills are good enough to, go up and down and score on them every single time. So I really like the Browns in this spot. I think they'll run the ball to a victory. Next up, we have Chiefs at the Titans. What do we like?
We go with the Chiefs. This week, Patrick Mahomes might play, but if not, Matt Morris has looked as good as you could possibly hope he could look. I think they're going to continue into this week in Nashville.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think they're going to win it pretty handily. This Titans team, I really don't know where they're going to go from here. I was big on them last week. They come out this week and they just look absolutely flat. They let the Panthers come out to a 20-0 lead. Not a good look, especially for a guy like Tannehill who's trying to solidify himself as the starting quarterback there in Nashville. Next up, Panthers at the Packers. Interesting game. Who do you like?
I don't think the Packers, and I kind of this game to shoot out. This is the game, because we talked about earlier the Packers defense not being really that great. We talked about how good Kyle Allen's playing and how legendary Stephen McCaffrey's having so far. But this game is at Lambeau Field, so Rodgers is going to put up numbers too. So I think we have a back and forth battle here of 2 teams that have decent defenses, just give them a ton of points and a ton of yards.
I actually really like the Panthers to win this game. And it's basically because what the Packers have done against the run this year. And the Panthers, it's no joke what they're wanting to do. They come out and they just run the ball at you over and over and over. And Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler combined for 150 rush yards and 2 touchdowns this week. Christian McCaffrey, anything you can do, McCaffrey can do better at this point of his career. I think the Panthers are going to, basically like the Browns, run the ball, walk out of Lambeau with the victory. Next up, we have Rams at the Steelers. Leighton C., is this the week that the Rams get it right?
Yep, this is Rams. They're back on track this week. You put up 35 and 40 points on the vote this weekend against Pittsburgh.
I actually like the Steelers. I don't know why. The Steelers have just looked so tough on defense, and Mason Rudolph has looked like a serviceable quarterback. I think that they just beat a team that was even better than this Rams team already, beating the Colts just this last week. If James Conner's healthy, I think you can lock in the Steelers to win. If not, I think it's going to be a questionable one. But I don't like Jared Goff going against this secondary, especially with how good Minkah Fitzpatrick has been lately. And the Steelers, they can always get after the quarterback. So I actually like the Steelers to win this game. Sunday Night Football, actually a very good matchup. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, these, historically this year, they've been absolutely terrible. This week, they save all the good games for prime time. Who do you like? Vikings at the Cowboys.
This game could really go like one of 6 ways.
Oh, yeah. I could not tell you how this game can end.
Cook could show up, and Dak not. Dak could show up, and Cook not. They both not show up. They could run the ball combined 55, 60 times. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys. It's in Dallas. I don't think Dak will play necessarily great this game. I think he played just good enough to get the win, though.
I actually like the Vikings. I think we're and this tells you how weird of a week this is, because we've disagreed, I think, on every single game on this slate, except for the Chiefs. I like the Vikings to win this game. Obviously Dallas is going to be coming back on a short rest. They do play tonight on Monday, have to turn around Sunday night, be ready for this Vikings team who can really do a number of things offensively. They can pass the ball, they can run the ball, they can win in several different ways, but so can the Cowboys. I like the Vikings in this game, though, just because of the quick turnaround for the Cowboys. Would you be surprised at all if the Cowboys won 40-10?
Not necessarily.
Would you be surprised at all if let's say the Vikings come out and win this game 30-10?
Not necessarily.
I just think that this game is just going to be so weird.
It could be anything.
Yeah, I think a 13-10 game is possible. I think a 35-40 game is possible.
Don't bet this game.
No, absolutely not.
You can't bet this game.
No. It's going to be a weird one. Next up, Monday Night Football. We have Seahawks at the 49ers. Seahawks obviously coming off of their overtime win. The 49ers undefeated. Is this the week that the 49ers lose?
Man, no, you're not.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because that stat said about the Seahawks, they lost so many points, and I just feel like, because last week was the first week where they were playing the Cardinals, the first week of the running game didn't get going, and they asked Jimmy Garoppolo, go ahead, win us this game. First time it happened, and he performed. So he performed to even close to what he did last week, and they can run the football against this defense, and this defense can somehow shut down Russell Wilson to win the game.
This is tough.
So I'm going to go with the 49ers.
I'm actually going to go with the Seahawks, just because the Cardinals last week with a mobile quarterback was able to put up points against this 49ers team. Russell Wilson is about 50 notches higher on the totem pole than Kyler Murray. I see this game being a very close game. I see the 49ers basically being able to run the ball at will, being able to score. They'll be able to keep pace with the Seahawks offense. The Seahawks, this is going to be a very fast game. Whenever you're watching and it's like an hour and a half into the game and it's almost over, just because both teams are going to want to run the ball so much. I think the advantage here, though, goes to Russell Wilson, and I think this game's going to be close. It's going to come down to the wire, and Russell Wilson basically checks off every single box in the fourth quarter, and he will win this game. This might be the game of the year, honestly, especially as far as Monday night games go. All right, so it is time. Each week, Leighton C. goes out and he watches a movie, maybe even several movies, and he brings in one to review. Leighton C., what's the movie today?
So it's a movie called Countdown. And most people, this might not have been that advertised, but it's been played before movie in theaters. Been some stuff on Twitter I've seen of it. It's basically, so I ask you a question. If you can know when you're going to die, to the exact second, would you want to know?
Absolutely not.
Well, in this world, there's an app that'll tell you.
Oh,
So
there's an app for everything.
That's literally the slogan is there's an app for that. So basically, there's this app that a company made or somebody made. I don't think they figure out who. That tells you how long you're gonna die, and you're gonna die of natural causes. But in this video, natural causes isn't just like a heart attack or a stroke, something like that. It can be like you're in a car wreck or you died in surgery, something like that. Something that's kind of unnatural, but still like natural. And if you somehow avoid an event, let's say on Saturday when you were supposed to die, you were going to go to a football game, but you cancel the game because you're going to die. Mm-hmm. The game that the little app would realize that, take your time down, and then this like demon spirit comes after you and torments you until your clock ends. Because the entire movie is about them figuring out how to beat this thing. And honestly, it's super interesting and intriguing for the first like.
So it's just an app that kills you.
Well, it'll tell you when you're going to die. But if you somehow try to avoid the time you're going to die, then it kills you.
So it just kills you.
You die no matter what.
Yes.
You die. And make sure that destiny happens that destiny should.
So it's Final Destination with a demon.
Sure.
Wow.
That's what we go with. Not bad analogy. So to movie like an hour and a half long, super short. For the first hour, about an hour long, it's really interesting and intriguing. But then it becomes time for them to beat the app.
Yes.
And then they just put out some like 2 or 3 really dumb movie idea plots that would happen, and they try them all, and of course 2 fail, 1 works, and the whole time you're just like, well, that was kind of a letdown. But then you leave it there thinking like, I mean, shit, how is that supposed to end? Like, was she not going to trick the app thinking she's dead? No.
Right.
But it had to end. Spoiler alert.
Can you just not destroy your phone?
No, it comes back to any phone you ever get. Because they try that too.
Oh. Yep. I thought you could go like Tom Brady, Deflategate, smash the phone, and just
The text.
win.
Hey man, it's on the cloud.
That's crazy. That's interesting. How many dips would you give this movie?
1.5.
Well, wasn't that great?
Very mediocre.
Yeah.
Entertaining. I mean, like, if you have an hour and a half and you don't really feel like doing anything like nobody really gotta pay attention to, just turn it on, play on your phone doing it. Background noise. Yeah,
Background noise.
solid.
All right. So, Latency, any bold predictions for this week?
Not for this week, but for the year. Jay Martinez opted into the contract today with the Red Sox, so now it comes time to trade Mookie Betts or Martinez. But I think, something else will happen. I think, come February 1st, Chris Sale is not on the Boston Red Sox.
Ooh, that would be.
That's $35 million off the payroll.
Yeah.
We keep Mookie Betts forever.
They need to do that, otherwise he's going to be a Yankee.
Oh my gosh, dude, no.
Could you imagine that?
I wouldn't watch. I don't know if I would watch baseball anymore if that happened, man.
That'd be absolutely horrible. My bold prediction is that Coach O gets the win in Tuscaloosa. I think that this team is geared to win. They are more battle tested. They are ready. And if there's a guy who can ever get that last ounce out of their team, it's Coach O. Yep. And I think they're going to get the job done. And I am very excited for this game. Very disappointed that it's like a 2:30 kickoff. Mm-hmm. That's like the weirdest thing this year as far as scheduling goes. Biggest loser this week might be the schedule makers for college football. Anything else before we wrap this show up?
Nope. Thanks for listening.
Okay, and on that note, for Drake, for Latency, as always, Dippers, stay saucy.